I've got some whoppers for you. You know I do. That's what it's all about. Talking about the whoppers from an angle that the postcards aren't giving you. It's like, take crime, for example. Here we go again. Hey, we're here in the tropics in tropical Mexico. We've traveled all over the world. We're previous homeschooling homesteaders turned into world travelers, talking about where should we go in light of everything that's been happening the last few years. Where should we go? Should we be in the U.S.? Should we be in Mexico? Should we be in Ecuador? And we talk about all of the things that are going on in an effort to help people have a better understanding of that very picture. And so why should people come and listen to our videos? Because I'll tell you, I just watched a video about a guy has been in a country, maybe I should mention which country, but the conversation is not about that country. It's not about the country that he went to. It's about the concept and the idea. And the idea is that after being there 2 or 3 years, he's regretful, get this, he's regretful that he only watched one postcard channel and made his decision. Now, you might be thinking, well, I don't want to go to a channel that's going to give me all the reasons why I shouldn't do this. And that isn't what we do. What we do, it may sound that way sometimes, like it's like, why are you talking about all these things? You don't want me to go, I'm not interested in that. You're just trying to discourage me. Nothing could be further from the truth. It's a question of being prepared. You always have the option of being more informed and making a better decision. Let me give you a quick example. Let's say you want to go to this country over here and you want to buy land and do the farming thing, the homestead thing, the self-sufficiency thing. And you just watch the postcard channel, and then you go there and you do it. And after you did all that, you find out that you bought land in a place where it doesn't rain. And you might be thinking, okay, well, you would have told me don't go there because it's dry. Not so. I would have told you what other options there could be. Or don't you want to know that it's dry there? First off, you want to know it's dry there. Second off, this will better inform you so that you can be better prepared to perhaps maybe be more well capitalized. So maybe you'll say to yourself, well, I'll need to have more money to install rain catchment systems and containers for water, in order to mitigate the fact that there's no rain there because I want to be there. And so that's how people should view the information on my channel. It's an informational aspect of looking at things, so that if you are 100% gung-ho about doing something, you can do so with what I call is both eyes wide open, also known as being prepared. And what's wrong with that? Can you find fault in that? And instead, I realize sometimes I come across like I'm telling people don't do this. But that isn't at all what I'm doing. It's like I give people the tools they need to make better decisions. And people in our membership area get like a 5-hour consultation for being in the membership area. And of course, you have our support where we can answer questions and this kind of thing. So there's no reason, there's no excuse, folks, okay? Just telling you, there's no reason to regret doing something because you did it in such a way that you were not fully prepared. Does that make sense? I think it does. And I realize that the really fast-growing channels are the ones that do the postcards. Go for it. Entertain your wildest fantasy and dreams and watch the postcard channels. But before you pull the trigger, or all along, not before, because if you do things in haste and in a rush, you'll miss something. You really should be watching our channels in conjunction, our videos, in conjunction with your postcard channels, which I know a lot of you are doing, or some of you are doing. That's the smart thing to do. You know, the smart thing to do is to get information from all angles. So not to stay on that horse too long, moving on, I've got some whoppers for you. You know I do. That's what it's all about, talking about the whoppers from an angle that the postcards aren't giving you. And in light of everything I just said, remember, don't click away, because there's a reason why you want to have and need to have this information. It's like, take crime, for example. When we talk about crime, are we saying, well, don't go there, there's crime? Well, it may sound like that's what we're saying, and that's why you've got these people, let alone the fact that they're just trolls, right? And they just don't want any information that isn't anything but postcards. We talk about how to mitigate the effects of crime. We lived in Ecuador for 8 years. Was there crime when we were there? There was crime when we were there. There were times when there wasn't as much crime, and then there were times when crime was increasing. And what did we do? Well, there were certain things that there were certain rules which we abided by, which a lot of people tend to want to ignore because of the postcard state, their dreamy postcard state that their mind is in. And they tend to block out information that they need to have. And so a lot of people tend to be all or nothing. Either I'm going to look at this thing as some dreamy, fantastic fantasy thing because I deserve it. I put my whole life aside for this. Why, I deserve this to be my fantastical dream. Don't you dare. I don't want to talk to you and I don't want to listen to you. That's one extreme, and the other extreme is, oh, the crime is that bad, I guess I'm not going. It doesn't have to be that way. There's a middle ground. And then if you decide one way or another, you know, look, you're an adult, it's up to you. At least you made a decision with both eyes wide open. You knew everything going in. You even had support along the way, and you even knew what you should do and shouldn't do if you're in our membership area, and how to do it, and how to mitigate, and how to know everything that you aren't getting. And so, yeah, we lived in 8 years in Ecuador, and that's one of the whoppers. Apparently now, you probably heard, it used to be, we used to do crime videos, and we talked about how, and before we moved to Mexico, and that's another thing, before we moved to Mexico, cities on the global scale with the highest crime rates were all in Mexico. And yet we still moved to Mexico. Do you see my point now? We still moved to Mexico. Okay, but did we do it with a dreamy, okay, I said I wasn't going to do all that again. You get my point, what I've been saying all along. You know, we're experienced world travelers. We have a different perspective than the dreamy way of looking at things because we never delayed our, we never bought into the delayed life plan. We've been retire early lifestyle since our 20s, and so we have a different perspective, okay? And so we moved to Mexico, and I was telling you that now that place on this global scale with the most crime goes to a city in Ecuador. It has moved. And so whereas Ecuador on the global scale of cities with the most crime in the world was down way below Mexico, now it's rising, and one of the Ecuadorian cities has surpassed Mexican cities. And I don't need to name the city. The point is made that Ecuador is moving up in crime. And here's another thing. 100 cantons, that is counties, just this year, 2023, have increasing on the increase, like a stock that's going up, a chart that's going up. A whole 100 cantons in Ecuador have increasing violent crime. We've always been told, oh, it's just petty crime, no worries, pickpockets, you know, you can do things about that. This is violent crime. That is a concern. A lot of people don't go to Mexico because of the violent crime. We're in Mexico. You can still come to Mexico. You can still go to Ecuador if you understand how to do it. If it just totally blows you out and says, no way, that's just too scary for me, that's fine too. But the crime is getting so bad now that the government is saying that the army is now going to chaperone and protect presidential candidates. But the amazing thing about that is that a presidential candidate has stated in Ecuador that they're leaving. They're just not gonna, they just don't want to live like that. They don't want to be chaperoned with by the army and have bulletproof vests and all that. Just the whole scene, it's just too much for them. And so these are locals, and this is a sign. When locals are leaving, this is a sign. So and so here's the thing. Is this video about don't go to Ecuador because the crime's increasing? No, I talk about ideas. Sometimes I get into the details. But the idea here is this. Crime is crime, and you can do things to mitigate it. But when the locals are leaving, that's something you've got to pay attention to. I've always said, pay attention to what the locals are doing. This is something you aren't going to get from the postcard channels. You get it from us, we get it from them, we give it to you, you know, one way or another, you get it in English, and you get it on a silver platter, you know, on our channel. And so when the locals are doing, pay attention, because it means something. It means a lot. Getting ready for another storm. It's raining like crazy almost every day, just about every other day. And here's why I'm telling you. We have 2 bathrooms, and they're both completely out of water. And here's the other one. Nothing. It's been like this all day. And the kitchen sink. No water. Can't do the dishes. And we're getting ready for another downpour. More water, but no water. The stupidity of central planning. And people want more central planning? You think more central planning is the answer to the stupidity of central planning? Is that it? Okay. So that's what I've got for you today. I hope you see what I do on my videos and in my channel, and I hope you appreciate it, and I hope you enjoyed the video, and you appreciate and you enjoyed all of the tales that I gave you today to help you make a better and more informed decision, and that you tell others about our channel. Thanks for coming to the videos, and have a wonderful day.